Well, when I moved to Chicago in 1979, I wanted very much to work at a library, and I interviewed at a few of them, and I really liked the staff at DePaul. You know, they had librarians who were very, very smart, and they were also really fine people. And initially, I was hired at another library, but when I got the call from DePaul, I quit. The other library came here very quickly. And I'm really glad I did, because I've been here 32 years. And indeed, I'm part of a core group of people, five people who've been at DePaul, 30, 35 years. The research activity done at DePaul in the middle 1990s, organized by Professor Bassiouni, Sharif Bassiouni, in relation to the research for the War Crimes Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. When Sharif was appointed by the UN to do the legal preparation for this tribunal, he was given absolutely no budget. So he had to go out and find what money he could and to rely on volunteer support for everything else. And the research, which was immense, was done partly in Geneva, the UN headquarters, but most of it was done here in Chicago, in the Lewis building on the 4th floor. And it entailed a large volunteer army that Sharif put together. People were willing to go through endless pages of testimony and organize it in a coherent fashion and make it usable. I remember that Bassiouni told me that eventually they had 64,000 pages of testimony. Okay. And most of that work was done here. And this was clearly an instance of people at DePaul reaching out, extending themselves in an emergency situation in a way that's fully consistent with the mission of the university to reach out and help the marginalized. And they did a lot of good, and they made history when they did it. Some of my colleagues in the law library, like Candace Collins, who's a marvelous singer, and Elizabeth Shivers is a great actress, and Marchand Grande is a great musician and producer, and has his own studio and has done a lot of brilliant work. I think one of the reasons why the law library has been such a good place to work at for such a long time is that people bring a lot to the job, both in terms of their duties as library staff, but that there's a lot of other things that they bring to the work as well that I think really contributes to the vitality of the workplace. DePaul had an important local presence. It still has that. It has a significant national presence and international presence. It's like when I began here, the law school produced graduates who would become aldermen and work on ordinances for the city of Chicago. Now, especially thanks to the contributions of people like Sharif Bassiouni, the law school produces graduates who are helping to build, a body of supranational law, which has never existed before. I think because you can see the spirit of St. Vincent alive in the work of people like Bassiouni, Professor Andrea Lyon, the work she's done over the years on behalf of people who are on death row without cause. And people like Professor Patty Gerstenblith, who's done historic work in the area of cultural property. So I think in all those ways you can see an effort on various levels to reach out and help the marginalized and to make the human community richer as a result.